Hey, everybody, Flip and Danny here, founders of the Freedom Real Estate Group family of companies, and welcome to the final episode of our daily podcast. And our podcast is called
Freedom Through Passive Income.
Oh, yeah. This is episode number 365, and you can see my shirt. If you're listening and not watching, I'm wearing my baseball jersey that says Freedom. Well, I think it just says freedom. It doesn't say anyway. But this is the final episode, and this is the 2022 in review and 2023 sneak peek.
Yes. Yeah. Super, super exciting. And what's funny is I thought I packed my Freedom Through Passive Income shirt, and I can't find it anywhere. So if I did pack it, it's somewhere.
I can go get it for you.
Yeah, toss it to me through the screen. So instead, I wore my shirt, my Peter Pan shirt, second star to the right and straight on till morning.
Right.
My inspiration for...
It's our everyday motto.
Yes. Inspiration for 2023. Yeah, so we're super excited about this final episode. We wanted to do a quick review of 2022, which we did a little bit of in the most recent 2022 Good Times and Bad Times episodes. So this is just going to be the highlights, and we're really going to dig into 2023. So I'll start with the first one. The FCI team. We grew to a team of 9. So here are our most amazing team members. Well, excluding Flip and myself, there's 7 more.
Not amazing.
Stop it. You're incredible. Our team members are Joe, Jody, CJ, Ben, Eric, Della, and AJ. Thank you so much for being dedicated to FCI, because you guys are the team members that are solely dedicated to FCI. And so we just want to say thank you, because there's lots of other team members across our family of companies that we even have on our website, because they do touch FCI in some way, shape, or form and help us building the 6th company and helping us operate the 6th company. But our core team members are the 7 people we mentioned. We just want to say thank you to them, because they came in while we were bootstrapping it, right? While we were building from scratch. And you have to be, there's a particular type of person who can enter a company at that stage of it. And we're very, very, very grateful to have you guys as a part of the growth of this 6th company. We are excited about its future and where it's going, especially in 2023.
Yeah, I mean, for the first year, I mean, I know we're going to talk about what it did in the first year, but just for, I remember the thought process of starting this company in the pool in Cancun, when we decided this is what we wanted to do, and for it to not only get put together, but then next thing you know, what we did last year in its first full year, I mean, most people wish that this was their year 5.
Yes.
So it's just absolutely astounding.
Yes. And what Flip is alluding to there is when we talk to different people in multifamily, commercial, syndication, funds, that type of thing, many of them are aiming for 4 acquisitions per year. And that gives them, the time and patience to find, the really good deals. So 1 per quarter is the goal. And you don't have to push yourself too hard, and you can be confident in your ability to raise money. And some people can't even do 4 per year, but 4 per year is kind of a common theme for a goal for some of the people that we've met. And so we didn't actually even set a goal of 4 for 2022, but yet we accomplished 4 in 2022. And it's partly how we structured our company from the ground up, who we brought on as team members, and the people we surrounded ourselves with as far as coaching and partners, and the extended partnerships that we've created in this, commercial arena, which is a requirement. This is one of the companies that you don't build and do on your own. It is critical to have those extra people surrounding you that have different boots on the ground in different areas, different expertise for different types of assets, different role, like the segregation of roles of who's doing what in these bigger style transactions. This is just a partnership game, and being able to very quickly form these partnerships because of our reputation and the people that know us, I think led to the success of what we had this year. Plus the team that said, "Hey, I mean, we know that you're starting this company from scratch, but we've seen what you've done with the other 5. We're happy to jump in, and we're excited to bring on those team members, and they've helped us, get to where we are as well, because we couldn't have done it without them." So it's been really exciting to be able to do 4 deals in our very first year of business. So we bought 4, and we also had 3 dispositions. So one of the deals that we already had was in 2021, not even counting 2022. So we went into 2022 with the 384 unit, and also the 56 unit that you and I had already purchased in 2020. So that's how we walked into this first year of business. And then we still bought 4 more, and then we sold the 384, we sold an 8 unit, and we refinanced Pine Ridge. And so that is a banger of a first year in business. And again, it's just all about our network and the people that we surrounded ourselves with. We have really great people around us, and I'm so excited at how 2022 rolled out for FCI.
Yeah, no kidding. It's like, I'm glad that no one said you can't do this in your first year or whatever, because we just don't know better. We're just going to go do it.
That's right.
One closes and we're like, all right, what's next? Let's close another deal.
That's right. I love it. And then you want to start us off on our sneak peek, Flip?
Yeah. So 2023. I mean, we're recording this a day or two early because of the planning of everything. But today is that you're watching this is December 31st, New Year's Eve. And we already have things lined up for 2023, of course.
Yep.
So we're going to be doing more speaking events. We're going to be doing what's called a podcast tour. And no, that doesn't mean we're going to take this podcast and go on a tour.
That'd be funny.
Yeah. We've already done that. I'm trying to think of all the different cities we've been in this year for this podcast. It's too many to name. But we're going to be, on many other people's podcasts and promoting their podcasts as well as promoting our podcast. So it's kind of like a cross pollination podcasting. And you've already been asked to speak at an event in just a couple of weeks.
Yes. Yeah. So I'm going to be in Kentucky, going back to the cold. You actually chose not to go with me because you're like, it's cold there.
Do you want to go with me? I'm like, where's it at? She said, Kentucky. I'm like, nope.
Oh yeah. Raise Fest is it's put on by Hunter Thompson. He's just an amazing human, and he's put together a great group of people. I'm in one of his masterminds, and so I'm excited to speak at that event. And I've actually got people saying, "Hey, I want to go, and I want to be a part of that, and I want to listen." And so that's just really cool. Kind of start off the year that way, right? Because we said we were going to do it, and then here it is January, and we already have something booked. So that's exciting to see that launch off in such a positive manner and at such a great event. So that's exciting. And then we've got some other stuff. I'm going to let you talk about some of the other stuff.
Yeah, we just talked about last year how we did 4 deals and 3 dispositions. And of course, this year we're looking at doing bigger and better things. But that wasn't enough. So Danny hired not 1, but 2 marketing companies to help with us, with what we're planning on doing in 2023. And so one of those things that we're going to be doing is writing a book, because that's what I like to do in my spare time. Is write a book. And also we're going to be we're working on a course because that's also one of my favorite pastimes. And so I'll let you talk more about those, of course.
Yeah, it's just so as we rolled into 2023, I knew that we wanted to expand. In order to expand, you have to get your brand out there. You have to get your name out there. And so I talked with multiple marketing companies trying to figure out how we do that. And I've said many times on this podcast, and I have a love-hate relationship with social media because I want to be focused on the business and the growth of what we're doing. And yet I know how powerful social media platforms are in sharing that business and that growth and allowing others to get to know what you're doing. It's just not like who I am. I don't like going on there and going, look what he did. Even this podcast is a little bit out of, sorts for us. But we know that we have to get the word out. If we don't get the word out, we can't help people. Talking to different marketing companies, there's a couple that just really aligned for us. One was a social media team, or part of their offerings where it was social media management. And I was just like, oh, please, will you please take this over for us so that we don't have to do that. And then another one was somebody who has done launches like this for himself. With a book and courses and communities and things like that. And so we talked to him, and just really, he's in one of our masterminds as well. And actually both of them we met through masterminds. So that's just the power of masterminds really has grown our network. It's just incredible. But they both just ring true to, who we are as people. They align with our values, and we just really look up to them in terms of their professionalism and what they do in their niches. And so we're really super excited to be working with them. And so we're launching a lot of things because of their help. Certainly we are not doing all of the work, but it is our voice. And we are approving everything that kind of comes to us. We're doing a bunch of brain dumps. My entire team did this huge brain dump for the course and for the book. And so we're all just going, bleh, and they're taking that and then they're making it, nice and pretty, so that we can get it out and start sharing some of that stuff with everybody. So, that's super, super exciting to finally be able to do, but not necessarily be in charge of.
And then with this, you're creating a community. And when you first told me about that, I immediately thought of like the what is that? The Island of Misfit Toys. But just kidding. But you're building a community of all the people that we're gathering because of all of this, right?
Yes. Yeah, that's going to be exciting because we started some Facebook groups and a LinkedIn group that really it hasn't really taken off because I haven't had the time to pour into it like I wanted to. And so this is going to be a community that's going to be off the social media platforms, I believe. And it's going to be a way for our entire team to be able to get in and help and go back and forth with people, and they can ask questions. And potentially that's where we're going to have monthly webinars where we do live Q&A and get people more engaged in the growth of their journey of freedom through passive income. And I think that will likely tie into that community. I'm not sure exactly how it's all going to work, but I know that it's exciting because our original idea of doing the Facebook community or the group was to have that community and be able to do that. And it's just, I have not personally had the time to be able to pour into it as much as I wanted to. We still post in there and we still do lots of things. And we still answer questions. I just want it to take off more. And so I think that Facebook group will likely still continue to grow. The LinkedIn group will pay more attention to, but we're really going to probably focus more into that community. And it's going to be very exciting. I'm excited to see it.
Yeah, and even with the monthly webinars, like you said, they're Q&A, and even if you don't have questions, you should still listen because somebody else might have a question like, "Oh, I never thought of that."
Yeah. Yep.
And so I know that you and I in the past have attended those types of webinars going into it, going, well, I don't have anything, but let's just listen, and we go, wow, did you get all those gold nuggets?
Yeah.
So it's you really never know because since it's not scripted, it's like what's going to happen this time.
That's right. That's right. And then we also have our funds being launched. So again, that's taken longer than we anticipated, which is typical for me. I always set aggressive goals, but then on top of, that, life has happened, and here we are, and I am in Arizona. And so we're getting through that process, but we still intend to launch it in 2023. That was the goal anyway. I was just in my mind going, maybe I can launch it end of 2022. But so it's still coming out. We've got a liquidity fund and a $100 million fund that we're going to be opening up. And a lot of the goals behind that was to meet your goals as an investor, including ours, because there's funds that we have that we want to put into the liquidity fund. And there's lots of things that we've got coming up. They're going to be created through these new vehicles. So we're super excited to get those launched once they are ready. And then, Flip, this is the big one. You ready?
Yeah, I think we mentioned it possibly once in this podcast.
We did.
We're officially, as of where you're watching this on December 31st. So as of tomorrow, January 1st, Freedom Capital Investments will now be known as Freedom Family Capital. But if you still go to freedomcapitalinvestments.com, it'll forward you over to the new website. But we're rebranding everything to Freedom Family Capital, and this is with working with these marketing companies. We wanted to make sure that everything was all aligned, everything lined up, just nice and hunky dory. Well, then we found out there was another Freedom Capital Investments, and we said, "Who on you? We're going somewhere else."
Yeah, we really just didn't want to spend a bunch of money on marketing this name when there was another person out there with that name, and it was already on. You can find them on Google. And nothing against that company. We know nothing about the company. We just wanted to have our own unique name, right? So when people searched for us, they would find us and only us. Also, Freedom Family, that's very much about our Freedom Family of companies. You Google Freedom Family, you're seeing a whole lot of all of our companies and who we are. And so we really thought that change of name just aligned with the rest of our companies and who we are. And we are always talking about family, and that includes our investors. So we thought it was just perfect. So we're excited about that name change. It was nothing other than our marketing team going, "Hey, there's another Freedom Capital Investments out there." And we went, "Oh, I guess we don't want to spend all of this money promoting that name." So super excited about it. Freedom Family Capital, baby. FFC.
Yep. And then the one marketing company said, "Well, we want to really promote you guys." And I'm like, "No, just do the company." And we need to promote you guys. And I'm like, "No, just do the company." And so I couldn't fight it anymore. And so they're really launching it, and you might have seen it on Facebook. It's been coming out for the last, I think, week or two now. But they're just really promoting Flip and Danny Robinson. On Facebook, it's Flip and Danny Robinson. And then on Instagram, it's at Flip, the letter N, Danny Robinson. But if you type Flip and Danny Robinson, you'll find us on both platforms. I think we actually might even have a TikTok account.
Yes. I think they have 4 accounts. So these new accounts are on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and then our YouTube channel that you have been watching us on. If you're listening, you haven't been going to the YouTube channel, but for those watching, you've been going to our Freedom Capital Investments YouTube channel that is being rebranded to Flip and Danny Robinson. Since this is where everybody has been watching us over the course of 2022 build out this 6th company. This is really kind of our journey now in life, is freedom through passive income. So we decided this channel was appropriate to be changed over to the Flip and Danny Robinson, because we're just going to continue, these podcasts and these videos, and it's all going to stay in the same place, so you don't have to go to another place to find more information. So find us. Find these new channels. We're excited about building them out, and we're excited. There's another team actually doing it.
Yeah, exactly. And for those of you wondering, I did lose the bet, and I wanted to do the quarterly podcast. But we are transitioning Freedom Through Passive Income into a weekly podcast.
That's right.
So there won't be one next week, the first week of January, but the week of the 9th, the second week of January, will be the first episode of the weekly podcast. Gosh, I don't know if I can do one a week. Seems like that's going to be a breeze. But anyway, it's going to be a new podcast. It'll be a lot of the same format, but we're going to be doing...
We are going to have a guest speakers. So for the very first time on any of our podcasts, we've got 2 podcasts running right now. We've never had guest speakers on them. So this Freedom Through Passive Income podcast is going to start having guest speakers. We also will do some, Flip and Danny episodes where we're just kind of talking about our business and just keeping you guys in the loop as to our path and our journey and how things are going. But I would say, I think we're looking at a ratio of 3 to 1. So every single month we'll have 4 episodes being released, assuming 4 weeks in a month. And 3 of them will have guests, and 1 of them will be just Flip and I, just talking about our journey and talking about what's going on. And yeah, we're super excited about that type of format, because we get to mix it up a little bit, but still share a little bit about what's going on. So we're going to take a week off because I am still here in Arizona until January 5th. And so January 5th, I fly back. That allows us to be able to record our first episode together in Florida. That will be Flip and I. And in the meantime, we're going to be lining up guests to start being with us here in the new year. So the type of guests that we're going to be looking for are probably people like you that are listening, and you are on this journey of freedom through passive income. And no matter where you're at in the journey, whether you're beginning or in the middle or at the end, we want to hear from you. And so if you've invested with us, or if you're just somebody who has a story to share, we want to talk to you. We are going to be we've got some other people in mind for guests as well who are very well known and can share topics that I think are relevant to those who listen to this type of podcast. So we're going to be inviting them as well. But we want a little mix of both. Things that are going to help you on your journey, and then people who are on your journey too, sharing their stories and their successes and their challenges. And, we can just do life together as we all work towards this financial and time and geography freedom that we all want.
Exactly. Well, I think I don't know if there's any more that we can speak about 2023 that I know of.
I think this is all we can fit into 2023. Let's just leave it at this.
Unless there's other deals that I don't know about, that's always possible. So, but we hope that you enjoyed this last episode of our daily podcast. Make sure you're heading on over to our website, or one of them, Freedom Family Capital or Freedom Capital Investments. They'll take you to the same place.
Yes.
But make sure you head on over there. Make sure you're joining the Investor Club, because that will never change. So make sure you're heading over there. Make sure you're talking to CJ and Ben to find out about all the stuff that's going on, because as you can see, no moss grows on us. But we like to end all of our episodes with
invest smart,
live happy.
Bye everybody.
Tear. Nothing on this show should be considered specific, personal, or professional advice. Please consult an appropriate tax, legal, real estate, financial, or business professional for individualized advice. Opinions and information on the show are not guaranteed. All investment strategies have the potential for profit and loss.